Is Jasmine Crockett the future of the Democrat Party? Well, she hopes to be. And according to The Atlantic, she is. Look at this piece. They're calling the Texas Congresswoman a Democrat for the Trump era. They credit her coarse style, viral moments, and heavy fundraising for her rise to the top as both a cultural and political force. That dropped a few weeks ago, and now, of course, she's back in the headlines because of her comments about President Trump and the redistricting. Let's bring in our panel, entrepreneur and host of Middays with Gerard Gibert. Gerard Gibert with us, and Republican strategist and pollster at American Pulse Research and Polling. He's the host of Political Trade Secrets, Dustin Olson. Hi, guys. Good to see you.
Great to be here.
Hey, Bianca. Thanks for having us.
You know, you question the source in journalism, so of course it's The Atlantic. But she has raised nearly $4 million for her re-election campaign. It does make her one of the top fundraisers in the Texas delegation and among the top 5 Democratic fundraisers in the House. Something she's doing is resonating with the radicals. Maybe everything she's doing, Gerard, but is this a winning strategy for the Democrats or ultimately one that will backfire and just benefit Republicans?
Well, the strategy is we hate Trump. I mean, there's not much depth to it. That seems to resonate with Democrats, and it kind of sums up their entire agenda. Their entire strategy is about how can we hate on Trump, how can we beat him up, how can we blast him, and that seems to be effective in raising money with respect to their policies, their vision, their plans, their agenda. I don't know that I've ever heard that out of Jasmine or most Democrats.
No, we hear Hot Wheels talking about Governor Abbott, who's paralyzed and in a wheelchair. We hear President Trump is I can't even say it because it's an expletive. She said yesterday, a piece of blank. Dustin, though, she does go viral, and maybe that's part of it. It's just the crazier she gets, the more headlines she gets. She says these things. Do you think she thinks she's the future of the Democratic Party?
Yeah, I definitely think she does. And look, 100% of communication is attention. If you're not getting people's attention, there's no communication happening. And, you know, Republicans, frankly, are just very fortunate that the most interesting person on their side came with ideas, coherent policies, and common sense. And with Democrats, the most interesting people on their side come with crazy. And they all happen to be Democrat socialists. And I think what you're actually looking at and what I see in polling with really historic lows for Democrat favorability is that we're watching the transformation of the Democrat Party. I don't know what the Democrat Party looks like 10 years from now, but it's going to be some form of these folks. She really is, and Mamdani and others are making the future Democrat Party right now before our eyes.
Oh, wow. All right. You know, we're watching a lot of historic movements in this period of, you know, political upheaval. And one of the things that is happening is immigration and the fact that, you know, the last administration really let, you know, open borders be part of their, you know, core beliefs here. And now we have Kristi Noem. They've got Alcatraz. She says it's a model for state-run immigrant detention facilities. We should also know, too, nobody has to go there. They can self-deport. You know, from the looks of it, everyone who's been interviewed, if you're not on the left, says this is cleaner than a lot of prison systems. This is the way it can be done effectively, inexpensively. It was basically a swamp, and there was a landing strip, Gerard. But here's Rachel Maddow. She literally is trying to tell her audience this, and I'm sure they believed it. Hook, line, and sinker. Let's play this.
Life in the United States is profoundly changing, is profoundly different than it was even 6 months ago. Because we do now live in a country that has an authoritarian leader in charge. We have a consolidating dictatorship in our country. And they're trying to make it into a national entertainment to threaten to feed immigrants to alligators.
Feed immigrants to alligators. It's insanity. No one thinks it's entertainment, but also no one's entertained with the illegals who were deported, and they put out the rap sheet. Gerard, he's like, oh, they raped a child. And Van Hollen and everybody else is just saying, oh, we can't have we can't have this. Rachel Maddow, what do you think of that?
The queen of bombasticism, Rachel Maddow. I mean, that's her brand, right? So I think it's insane. This is just another example of how Democrats and Democrat spokespeople, media personalities, surrogates, they're more about criminals and protecting criminals than they are concerned for victims. And in fact, they've demonized victims in many cases. This is the appropriate thing to do. I mean, nobody's going to try to escape when they got flesh-eating alligators all around them. I don't see the problem.
I don't either. And it kind of incentivizes people to leave and take their $1,000 on the CBP One app and deport. Okay, but maybe this is why it's resonating. You know, Dustin, there's an Illinois Democrat, Delia Ramirez. She went to Mexico City, gave a speech in Spanish, fine, but she said there that she is a proud, you know, I'm paraphrasing, but basically I'm a Guatemalan first, then an American. DHS responded and posted a quote from former President Roosevelt, basically calling her out, saying, you know, we have to condemn anyone who holds any other allegiance. You know, she made headlines, viral moment herself when she walked up to Kristi Noem back in May and handed her a letter to ask her to step down. So she's been playing a little bit of a game with sort of the politics here. But she's married to an illegal, and she says it strengthens her commitment to America. What do you think? Do you think that she, representing, you know, people in Illinois in Congress, is doing herself a favor to say she's Guatemalan first?
Well, obviously, no. This is a big problem. When I'm on foreign media, when Biden was president, I was uncomfortable being critical of the president of the United States. That's how I view it. And she went to Mexico City to say that she was more loyal to another country. This is the reason why Democrats have such a low favorability right now, that they're really getting on the wrong side of almost every issue. The most recent Harvard-Harris poll showed that 60% of Americans approve of what Donald Trump is doing to secure the border. So she's very much out of step with Americans. And this is, I don't know what's going to happen in the next 10 years, but to my earlier point, we are watching the transformation of this party that was once a great party. I think we're watching it. I really don't see who can pull them out of this this tailspin and help right the ship. People like this are not going to be the ones who do it.
Well, we got Newsom out there. You know, Kamala wouldn't name a leader of the party, so she may be holding out hope. You know, Ramirez was born in Chicago to immigrant parents and has been representing Illinois since 2023, Gerard. You know, it just is a situation where, you know, she's in Mexico, and it's probably just pandering. But the fact that she actually, if you go back in the context of her telling Kristi Noem to step down back in May, and she said basically that she is a threat to national security. If you read the letter, and she posted on her X, she's very proud of it. She's anti-ICE. This is all stemming from what we're seeing here in the push against the, you know, the resistance to the immigration that Americans voted for. Final thoughts, Gerard.
Why do we have people, Bianca, serving in the United States House of Representatives and the Congress who have hyphens before the word American to describe themselves? I can't even comprehend that. What about the oath of office that they take to swear to uphold the values, the Constitution of the country? Is that just lip service? It sure seems like it. It's incomprehensible. And I think it's right that the Democrats really are at sea without a paddle, if you will.
Well, Tennessee Congressman Andy Ogles wants her kicked off some committees. We're going to track it and see if there's any more fallout for those comments she made in Mexico City. Gerard, Dustin, thanks, guys. Good to have you with us today.